I love your intro, by the way.
Is it playing?
It was playing. We're
Did it
live.
stop? Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori. Happy Sunday to everyone. Happy Sunday. And of course, I got my girl, Felisha Prescott, on today. I call her Fifi.
How you guys?
Fifi to me. How are you doing on this Sunday?
Hi, Tori. I'm doing well on this Sunday. I have no complaints. How about yourself?
I am blessed. Church was good. And I also got to say, I got to give a shout out to the Florence chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, along with the Hartsville chapter. We did the walk yesterday for sickle cell, and it was amazing. And of course, I did the walk in memory of Michael K. Spears, and also in memory of the hitman Charlie G, who passed away in October of 2004 from Win 106, the Quiet Storm back in the day. And of course, I have a couple of family members that are sickle cell warriors. So I want to shout out to the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta for doing the walk. Yesterday was celebrating 9 years. So it was amazing. We had an amazing time yesterday. Fellowship. It was amazing. I'm already looking forward to next year. So I just wanted to, shout them out. And a lot of times you don't hear a lot about sickle cell like we used to. So we need to educate ourselves about sickle cell. If you haven't gotten tested for it, you definitely need to test yourself to see if you have the trait, because a lot of us don't know. I don't know because I still haven't gotten tested myself, but we have to find out. And another point that I made as well is the fact that, we get in relationships and we don't, that's one of those questions I never ask. Do you have sickle cell? Do you have that trait in your family? That's something I never asked, but moving forward, I will ask that question. But I just want to show them some love because yesterday was amazing. Awesome. I got in about 3.2 miles yesterday.
Oh, wow. Girl, you did better than me because, baby. Now, look, you did better than me. So kudos to you. Kudos to the Hartsville and the Florence Delta chapters, both.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Keep me posted on next year. I didn't know about that.
Listen, next time I'll make sure you are aware so you can come on out.
Please do. I might pass out before we get to the finish line, but I'll try.
Absolutely.
I'll get my best.
Right. Well, Fee, before we get started on our topic, tell everyone that those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, because you're Fee the realtor. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so first of all, you guys, I am just leaving an open house, so that, I've been running all day in these real estate streets, is what I like to call them. However, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Felisha Prescott. I currently go by Fee the Realtor. I wear many hats. Right now, I'm wearing my realtor hat, and I'm into real estate. So I originally got my start from Hartsville, South Carolina. You guys may have known of me, heard of my family or my family business. Shout out to Prescott Wireless, because that's where I started. Hartsville, right on the square in Darlington, also in Bishopville. Shout out to my mom, my dad. Shout out to my peeps. But I'm definitely an entrepreneur at heart, is what I always like to say. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I was born into this. I have a love for it. I just like to help people. So anything I'm doing that's helping somebody, that's where you can find me.
And also give out your handles on social media if anyone wants to reach out to you, whether it be in regards to real estate or also in regards to Prescott Wireless, because I am fortunate enough that one of the locations is in my building. What? So that's like I can walk down the hall and your mama always take very good care of me. So let me tell you something. Your mama is such a jewel. I love your mama to death.
My mom is the most, I was just telling somebody over the weekend, like some of this stuff. My mom is the most loving, caring, hardcore mothers you ever want to meet. Like, she's a mother to her core. Like, and she mothers everybody that way. And some people appreciate it, some people don't, but most people love and respect my mom for who she is, because she is who she is, and she made us who she made us. And I appreciate so much about my mom, even now in my adult life. Like, so many lessons she taught me as a child that I may not have understood then, but I fully understand now. So I have a different type of love and respect for my mom these days, but she's the GOAT for sure.
Definitely the goat. Definitely the goat.
My handles on social media, though, on my business pages, I'm Fee the Realtor. I'm knee deep in real estate right now. Real estate is my passion. That's my love. That's my baby. I'm birthing something great with real estate. So I'm Feed a Realtor on all social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's Feed a Realtor. And then for my Prescott Wireless side, is I Can Fix That. So I'm more into the phone ticks. I like to fix. I like to do stuff like that, repair. That's my thing. I'm still into the activations and stuff like that, but I kind of like to let the stores handle that. But anything need to be repaired, iPhone, I'm your girl. It's me.
All right. Now, the topic that we have at hand, the topic that we're going to be talking about, and I want this is, and I tell my guests all the time, we never rehearse anything, everything we flow organically.
Okay.
We never write. I never tell anybody before we go live. I never give them any questions or anything prior to going live. I like for
Yeah, I
everything
was
to
gonna
happen.
ask that.
No,
Oh,
I don't do that. I like for
okay.
my guests to think on their feet. So I'm
Okay.
not gonna give you questions ahead of time. No, no, no.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
it's
I think
live.
it's
So I'm
more
gonna put
authentic.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
the topic today is listening to the voice of God and dominating my and your distractions. Now tell me, what exactly does that mean to you when you totally listen to the voice of God? Because let me tell you, okay, because I asked you what we're going to talk about, but sometimes
Mhm.
if my guests don't have a topic, what I do personally, because whenever I go live or whenever I'm on the mic, I like to do everything with purpose and on purpose and be intentional about everything that I do.
Right.
So you was like, Tori, come up with a topic. I just started praying and meditating. And that's what God, when I thought about you, that's what God dropped in my spirit for you to listen to the voice of God. Because listen, we've
Baby,
been
you know,
we've been
listen,
going.
don't you know it's Sunday, don't you bring the house down. Like, go ahead, go ahead, go
But
ahead.
what I'm saying is, we haven't known each other for a few years.
Yes.
And I have seen the growth.
Yes.
So I know that topic came with a purpose
It
because
did.
I've seen your growth. Because
It
I
did.
remember a time. Let's be clear. Let's be real. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna keep it.
Keep
I'm
it
gonna keep it 100.
100. Go ahead.
So when it comes to these social media streets,
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was a time.
Mm-hmm.
Fifi as a caller.
Ooh, baby.
Listen, Fifi as a caller. There was a time on Facebook.
Oh,
You
Jesus.
come, you come for her. Oh, she gonna clap back.
Baby, clap. I'm talking about busting them out the sky. Boo, boo. Like, crazy. Just craziness. And I remember, and I'm going to be so honest with you, Tori, out of all the people who I've associated with over the years, all the people that I'm connected to, all the people who watched me go through these many different stages in life, you have been the most consistent person with me from way back then to now. You've been the most, you and a handful of other people, because I'm not just gonna throw it, I'm not gonna say, you and a handful of other people never took your hands off me. It didn't matter how ugly it looked on the outside. You guys still treated me the same. So that's number one reason why I was so willing to come and be a part of your show, because anything you do, I'm gonna support it, period. So let's start there. And then let's go back. Let's go back to those times, because it's a lot that went on. It was just a lot of stuff that goes on. And then when you gave me the topic, I'm like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay. Because I actually have people who ask me things like that. Like, how did you find your peace? Okay, I'm on a live right now. So you're gonna have to give me a second, okay? Yeah, and they can see you. Yep, and you gotta go. Thank you. Um, so it's when you say how do you hear the voice of God? Like to me, just that alone. When I think about how I had to go and get quiet, and it was in those times when it was the hardest for me to let things go, when it was the hardest for me to turn the other cheek, when it was the hardest for me to forgive and forget, I had to keep reverting back to certain parts of the Bible. Because let's be honest, I don't know the whole Bible. I don't know the whole Bible start to finish. I don't know every single chapter. There's certain things about the Bible. Now, we always went to church, but my attention span has always been 0.2 seconds. Okay. So whatever I learned in the church, if it wasn't quick, fast, and something that would stand out and still in my brain, I didn't catch it. Or I might have heard it and just overheard it. But it's so real when they say the part in the Bible that says, be still and know. I'm sorry, y'all, because you honestly have to be still, especially when you're in the midst of chaos, just chaoticness. If you're looking for something, but you're in a very chaotic spot, just be still. Just be still and trust God, because that's the only way I feel like you're gonna be able to hear Him. You got to be able to hear Him through the noise. So,
Woo,
what do you?
that part. That part. Let me go to see what there's a comment that came through. Hey,
Hi, Tamika. Make sure you share. Make sure you share this.
and happy born Fee speaking.
Yes. Now, look, he's another one. Never took his hands off me. I appreciate you. He already know how I feel. I appreciate you. Thank
Yeah,
you for supporting.
and make sure you guys share the podcast. But Fee, I'm telling you, when I see you now, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Because
Thank
like
you.
when you're on social media now, it's with purpose and you're
Yeah,
very intentional. But like I said, I've seen the growth. And now I don't even know the last time. Do you even clap back these days?
baby.
Because
I don't,
you'll be about
baby.
your business now.
This piece is so instilled in me, and I worked so hard to find my peace. And it's so hard because when you are in a small town like the small towns we're from, it's so easy to feel like you're being judged. You're just being, everything is scrutinized. Everything is like heightened to a different sense because people don't really have the capacity to think outside of what they see. See, because a lot of times people will see a reaction, but they never know what caused the reaction. They just see the
Right.
reaction. They don't know
Oh,
what's buried under the reaction. They just see the explosion. So by the time they see the explosion, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. But they don't know that you've been dealing with years of situations and years of disrespect and but you as a person, I really had to go and sit down and listen to what God had to tell me. Because at some point I had to look in deeper and say, okay, Felisha, everybody isn't attacking you, everybody isn't threatened, everybody, so what part do you play in it? Because it's not all the time everybody just, if it is, then it's like, what are you doing to emit that, to get it back? Because everything we put out, we have to get it back. So if you're getting all of this drama, what are you doing to create the drama? So I had to really sit down and get honest and serious with myself. That's where it started. That's where it started.
wow, that's accountability.
Accountability. Stop blaming
and
other people.
and Tamika says, "What sound voice do you listen for?"
We were just talking about this earlier. So funny. Um, I listen for my own voice. So it's me. Like my sister and I are very, very spiritual. We send each other quotes all the time. She sends them more than me, obviously, but we send each other quotes all the time. And the quote that she sent me earlier today, I can't remember it verbatim. Give me 1 second. I can't remember it verbatim, but it basically stated, it doesn't matter how you wake up and what state you wake up in the morning. Whether you go left, meaning you go way left off the deep end, or you go to the right, meaning you go the right path. Whether you go the left path or the right path, if you just listen to the voice, it will always lead and guide you. It's gonna always guide you home. And that voice for me is me.
Yes. And Tamika says, this is the way, walk in it.
That's it.
Absolutely. And also, Tamika, while you're watching, I gotta say, because I know you got a birthday coming up. So I want to say happy birthday, happy early birthday to you. I think it's coming up the 28th,
27.
27.
27.
Happy early birthday before I forget.
Yep. Yep. Her birthday's coming up.
So happy birthday to you. But listen, what made you realize, what was the epiphany that you received that you knew that you had to just be still and be quiet? Because no, a lot of times we can have the wrong people around us, and you're gonna have some people that's gonna, because I remember there was one time you clapped back and I was like in my feelings because I couldn't reach you. I was like, "Fee, calm down." But you wouldn't answer no phone call, you wouldn't answer no text. My little feelings was hurt. So at what point did you get to, come to yourself, come to the realization that you needed to sit down and just be still, and just, you don't have to respond to everything that you see. You don't have to respond to every action. What did it take for you to get to that point?
In all honesty, a lot of things that were going on around me and a lot of things that were being done to me, I had no knowledge of. So I had no knowledge of it. So here's my thing. You can't fix a problem that you don't know you have. It's the way I looked at my type of blind level that I was on. I was so blind. I was so blind to so many things. It's like it's like the 1%. It's like if you take the 1% and you tell the 1% how to live, how we live, they wouldn't understand. It's the same way. It's the same mentality. I was so wrapped up in my own self, in my own bubble, in my own world, because in actuality, I really don't do anything but work and take care of my children. It was people that I was associated with that was having me pulled out of character. So when I was coming out of character, I would not even realize that I'm not really in my own body, that this is not really me, because it's been a defense mechanism for so long. You've been when you're in that toxic situation, when you're in the trenches, is what I like to call them. Even my baby cousin, I tell all the time, you're in the trenches. But when you're in the trenches, sometimes you're so deep, you don't even see the things around you that you should see that are in plain sight. And I got a phone call one day, and it was she was very concerned for me. And this young lady didn't have a reason to attach herself to me the way she did. And she did. And I trusted her because I've been around her for so long, and she just wasn't one of the type of people that I was used to. And when she came to me, she said, "You are a wildfire." She said, "And I aim to make you a candle." And when she told me that, I'm like, "Oh, wildfire, girl, bye. What you mean? Girl, what you talking about, a wildfire? Like, what are you talking about? I'm fine." To me, in my mind, I'm fine. But in actuality, I'm sick. I'm sick and I'm crying out for help. And these are the cries for help. But you don't recognize these things when you don't know. You don't know that you have these problems because you've festered in them for so long. They just seem a part of life to you. So you don't even recognize it's a problem. But after that conversation and the terms that she was using with me, I'm like, well, maybe I do. Like, well, maybe I am a little firecracker. Like, maybe I am. But in my mind, I'm just defending myself. But to the world, it's like, oh my God, what's going on? But in my mind, I'm like, I'm just sticking up for me. At that time, I didn't understand the lesson in you don't have to fight every battle. Every battle is not yours to fight. I didn't understand that. Now, baby, it takes a lot to come unhinge me. It takes a lot because I've learned the power in letting go. So before I argue with you now, this is what you gonna
Absolutely.
get. Because I
Right.
definitely got too much going on now.
Yeah, and it takes a minute to. Sometimes it can take some of us a while to get to that point,
Yeah.
because, and I think too, you reminded me so much of myself in my early 20s when I was in college. Oh, I will pop off. I will go from 3.2. I will pop off in 3.2 seconds. And I
Yeah.
guess that was one of the reasons too why I'm like, "Fee, calm down. It's not worth it." Because you reminded me so much of myself when my early 20s. I would say 20 to 22.
Yeah.
If you look at me wrong,
Oh,
I'm ready to go toe to toe.
baby, I'll be ready. What be wrong? What an anger why are you so angry? I'm sorry, Tori. I lost you for a second, but it's crazy. Let me turn my phone off because I don't want anybody else to be able to call me. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Well, while we waiting for her to come back, I'm gonna go through some of the comments. Give me just a second. Hold on. Tamika says, "Happy birthday and thank you." Thank you, Tamika. And let me see. I'm going through the comments while you was getting straight. And
Okay.
then Karen is watching. Hey, Karen, cousin Karen. And Happy Born says, "We all have a breaking point. We just can't let that point break you. Identify it and recover it and keep pushing." And that's
That's it.
exactly what you have to do. You have to identify it immediately. But
Yep.
sometimes it took me a while, but I would say I've always been the type of person that believe in God, but there's a difference between believing in God and having a relationship.
Absolutely.
Baby, when you have
Absolutely.
that relationship,
Absolutely. You,
that's where it's at.
that's where it's at.
And
That's where the true happy place is at.
thank you, Karen, for wishing us a happy birthday. Thank you so much. But when you have that relationship, it
The
makes
relationship with
all the difference.
it does. It honestly does. And I know like I never thought that I would be the type of person to like promote God, like seriously promote God. But the things I have in my biggest turning point for me was I had to get out of my comfort zone. I was so comfortable where I was and what with what I was doing. There was no need for me to change because at the rate I was going, I was gonna self-destruct. Obviously, I was gonna self-destruct. But in my mind, there was no real reason for me to change. Life was what it was for me at that time. So there was no real reason for me to change. And I was actually going through things where I was trying to figure stuff out. I'm trying to figure my own world out. And I'm Pisces, so I'm always in my head. I'm trying to figure my own world out. And people just nagging, nagging, nagging. So those are things that as young people we need to discuss at younger ages, the different emotions, how to handle your emotions, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to move on. Those are not things that are discussed in the Black community heavy enough, obviously. Kids really need to learn how to manage emotions way earlier.
And speaking of kids, one thing I love about you and your mom, how y'all genuinely love on people. That's why your kids want to be in the room with you, because you love on them. Do you know there's some kids that don't experience that? There's some kids that when they're at home, they are miserable. There's some kids that they go to school to escape the drama. There's
Yeah,
some kids that may not have food at home and they go to school to be fed. So
yeah,
that's one of the things that I love about you and your mom and your family, your entire family. You guys are so loving and so genuine. Like I said, your mama is just, oh my God, she's so sweet.
yeah.
She's so sweet.
She is, and it's so funny because we talk about it a lot, and we are raised to be that way. So a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand the pureness of our heart when we're giving. They think that it's like coming from no, it's purely from our soul. So I'm the type of person I give from my soul. So when you cross me, it's like it hurts me double because I'm really doing this from my soul. Like I don't have a reason to do this. I don't have to do it. There's nothing saying that I have to be this way. But that's just, the genuine raising of our family. And I do believe that kids should be raised on love. So many kids are raised on survival. Just like you said, they go to school, they don't have food, they don't get love. So they're raised on survival tactics versus pure love. We were given pure love growing up. Regardless of what we went through, we loved each other.
Right. Now here's my next question to you now. When you was going through that period of, like I was telling you, like when you was popping off,
Popping off.
because I always saw you loving to your children. So when you had those moments when you was going through a phase, you would pop off. You like was able to immediately switch it off when you were around your kids?
Yeah, my kids, believe it or not, my kids are very innocent to a lot of things. I sheltered them from a lot of things. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping it's a good thing because I've done it. But they were not privy to a whole lot. They saw some things, they didn't see a whole lot. By the time my boys, now my boys would have been the ones that would have seen mama really popping off because I was much younger when I had them. But I hope they don't remember some of the things. But for the most part, I keep my children very childlike. They're kids. So they are to always remain in a child's place. I don't let them stay in the room when grown people are talking. I don't discuss certain things in front of them. It's very everything is very friendly with them.
Okay. Now the other question I was going to ask you during that time and that transition when you was going through your transitional period from changing to, like you say, your person reached out and told you it was a wildfire.
Right.
Did you notice that there were some people that you immediately had to disconnect from? Because
Absolutely.
you're gonna have those people that's gonna feed into the, like, because
Absolutely.
I'm one of those friends that I'm not gonna, if you acting a fool, I'm gonna tell you, like, feed. Now you
And
know
you
that
always
wasn't right.
and you always did. And you always did. You would always have it didn't matter how I felt about you coming to have a conversation. You was going to get me. You was going to let me know how you felt. And that's why I appreciate it because you were always genuine. Tell me. I tell anybody, tell me. I can take it. I promise. Just tell me.
And see, everybody's not receiving. Some people, because I always try to do it in a loving way. And I
Right.
hope that I've always done it in a loving way.
I wouldn't be
But
on the side.
everybody is.
I wouldn't be. Well, I've calmed down, but I've learned how to control the temper. That's all. I learned how to control it. I don't have a problem telling somebody, no, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, no, thank you.
Because listen, it's still there. It's
Yeah.
still there. We all have that, but you have to correct in a loving way
Yeah.
and that's where I am. I'm at a point in my life where if you're doing something, I'm going to tell you. But like I said, not everybody is going to receive it.
Right.
That's just who I am, and I'm
Right.
not. I make no apologies for being who I am.
Yeah.
If you
You
love me, you love me. If you don't, you don't. Whether
that
you love
part,
me or not, I'm still gonna love you.
period.
But
Period.
but like I
That's
said, I am
part-
so proud of you.
thank you. That's a part of it. Like that all of that is a part of it. So I really had to go back. Again, I'm very spiritual. So I'm not trying to spook nobody. I don't want to like get too deep into what I really want to say, but I will say I did the work. Like I did the inner child work, I did the shadow work, I did the work. And when I say I did the work did me almost, especially the inner child, because when you start finding yourself in different cycles like that, where emotions are high and there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of chaos, you don't just like walk out of that cycle. You don't just get to like it's work you have to do. You have to find out why you are the way you are. Why do I respond this way? Why do I get so angry? Why do I let these things trigger me? You have to really sit down and question yourself. And I think that was the hardest part for me. Just getting quiet and being still and being, like you say, intentional in your words, intentional in your studies, intentional in your belief in God, because only God has brought me this far. I could not have made it this far on my own. That's for sure.
And you can definitely tell that you put in the work, because now when you post, it's all about business.
Yeah, it's all about
May making your
I'm
personal commercial. I
yeah.
mean, you're doing the doggone thing. You hear me?
Yeah.
You're doing the thing. I'm gonna go through a couple huh?
And that was another thing. You gotta find your purpose. We get lost. We get lost. We get lost along the way. And I always heard pastors and say that, but you don't know what it means until you experience it. Mama. Yes, baby. Okay, I'm on a live. You can't be in here right now. Y'all know I got a 4-year-old and he's spoiled rotten. Okay, spoiled rotten,
Hey
y'all.
Taylor.
And he's not even feeling the best, so I'm not gonna fuss at him today. However,
Don't fuss at the baby. Let me go through some of the comments.
okay, okay.
And let me see. Victor says, "What's up, Pete? What's up, Victor?"
What's
Let's
up?
see. And Cynthia says, "Great evening."
Great
Cynthia
Eve.
says, "I agree. Love covers all."
Every piece of it.
And Victor says, "Managing emotions. Why should someone taper their emotions?" Okay, we're gonna come back to that. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
And Cynthia says, "She sure does. That's how you know those are genuine friends."
Yep.
Oh, y'all so
Yep.
sweet.
Yep.
And Cynthia says, "Honey, that healing work is a journey."
Yes, Lord. Still traveling these roads.
And Charlene says, "Yes, find your purpose." Hey,
Find,
Charlene.
find your
And
purpose.
then Auntie Tamika says, "Hey, Taylor."
I don't even want to get him started. He might try to take the show.
Listen, you know how Taylor loves you. Now
Oh,
let's go back to Victor's question. He
okay.
says, managing your emotions. Why should someone taper their emotions? How would you answer that?
Emotions cloud logic. Period. You can't be emotional and logical in the same sense. It's impossible. Either you're gonna act from your mind or you're gonna act from your heart. So if you're gonna move logically, you're gonna think about what you're doing before you're doing it, and you're gonna use your brain. If you move from emotions, you're gonna move from your heart. You're gonna do what your heart tells you to do. And sometimes the heart can lie. The heart will tell the truth, but the heart will definitely lie to the brain. A lot of murders, manslaughter, all that stuff is from most 90%, I'd say 92% of the time. My sister's a lawyer. She can quote me on this. 92% of the time, 93% of the time, those murders come from emotional responses. And what I've learned to do, thank God to my oldest brother who taught me this, if I have to, if something is going on the night before, lay down, go to sleep, answer it in the morning. Because if you answer it too fast, you're not thinking logically and you're thinking from emotions, and emotions can just get you in a whole lot of trouble. So I've learned to not be so emotional. I don't taper my emotions. I still express my emotions. I've just learned how to properly express my emotions. I'll say it that way.
Because your emotions, I co-sign everything you just said, and a lot of times your emotions will betray you. Because,
Yes, they
like you
will.
said, the mind and the heart don't always they're not always in alignment.
Nope.
Like
Think,
your emotions,
think deep.
your
Deep.
your emotions will tell you to do one thing, and your brain will tell you to
Don't do
do
that.
another thing.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And then when you're emotional, your hurt shows.
Mm-hmm.
Your hurt, no matter how much you try to um hide it, it's going to show. If you're emotional, if you're doing things from an emotional stance, it always shows.
Right. And Cynthia says, yes, if you sleep on it, sometimes you realize that you shouldn't answer or respond at all. Great advice.
Yep.
That's absolutely good advice. That's real good. And then I've learned too over the years to not, how you would hear people say, don't go to bed angry, don't,
Yeah.
let it go and don't wake up in the morning. And I practice that. And I've learned how to I'm at a point now where I forgive quickly. Like if you do
Yeah.
something to hurt me, I forgive quick now. Even though I never was the type of person to hold on to stuff long periods of time, I could hold on to something, maybe 2 days. But now I try not to hold on to anything. If somebody hurts me or say something or does something to hurt me, I try now practice not to hold on to it longer than an hour.
Okay.
But there was a time where I could hold on to something 2-3 days, but I'm not there anymore. That's why I know God is definitely dealing with me on that because I used to hold, and the thing is, 2 to 3 days was tops for me. But you
Right.
have people holding on to stuff for years. They
And they
still holding on to stuff.
and, and those are the people who don't understand that holding that stuff in, harboring that hate. those grudges, that makes you sick. That makes you age quickly. That puts stress on the body. You got somebody running around living rent free in your head, and they're not thinking about you. They're not even like you're not even a thought to them, but you're allowing someone to enter your space and stay there that you don't even want there, but you're allowing people to harbor there. So for me, when I look at my community, our people, we have so much healing to do, but we must first realize that we are sick. It's so hard to heal people who don't even recognize that they're sick and that they're hurting and that they need God, that they really should seek God in all things. It's hard to get people to see that when they don't realize that they are sick. They don't understand that those grudges that it brings you down. So a lot of these illnesses, diseases, people dying early, heart attacks, stress, hypertension, all of this stuff that plagues our community starts with our minds first. Is what you allow in your temple.
Woo, girl, that was good to me. let me let me put up Victor wrote a book, so let me pull up his book.
Okay, okay, okay.
Logic and emotions are complete opposites. It's easier to say something doesn't make sense or not logical when you aren't in the situation. My emotions come from a pure place. Just because people don't see it like I do doesn't necessarily mean that I was wrong. Just means we don't see it the same. Now,
I agree.
logic, we're not saying that logic and emotions are the same. What we're saying is that you don't allow your emotions to take control of you. You have to let your logic let you know exactly the right, because like I said, the mind and the heart does not always align. So we're not saying it's the same. They are complete opposites, but they don't always align. Now sometimes your heart, which is rare in my opinion, which is rare, sometimes your heart and your logic will align, but that's not always the case. 9 times out of 10 it's not going to align with each other. The heart and the mind is going to be two different things. So that's all we're saying. Right. And then Cynthia says, always forgive, but sometimes you have to deny access. Absolutely. Forgiveness is for us, not the ones who hurt you. Absolutely.
I agree. I will forgive you and baby rid you off in my brain all at the same time. Lord, I'm sorry, y'all. I will definitely do that. So I'm like you, Tori. I've learned to. Well, I've never held grudges because I'm so blunt on my mouth. Like I just say whatever. If you hit my nerve, whatever is on my brain will come out. It may not come off as harsh as it used to, but it will still come out. And because I did the work, I think I had numbed myself down a little bit where I'm not as feisty. But I have had situations where people had to get what they got. So you're going to get what you got when you get it. However, I am a work in progress, but I do believe that everything comes with time. I get what he's saying with the logic and the emotions, but you really have to learn how to handle your emotions. You really do.
Yeah. That's you're let me tell you something. Your emotions will take you to a place that you don't need to go.
Way off the deep end. Way off the deep end. Baby, you on the diving board. Come back. Where you going? Get back over here. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. She finna jump. Trust me. Been there, done that. Know all about it.
And let me go back to, let me see what comments I'm missing. Hold on a second.
Boy, pop some popcorn. Go in with Boy.
Victor says, God molded me to be me. Don't change me. Just love me for me. If you don't like it, leave. And then Roderick says, Minister Roderick says, forgiveness is good therapy. It is the best therapy.
It is
the best therapy. And then Victor says, humans love diagnosing other people on what they need, when most people just want to be loved or left alone, but we want to inject our lives on each other. Everyone doesn't see everything the same. If I'm broken, maybe I don't want to be fixed. Well, here's the thing. Just like you said earlier, you may see things one way, we see things another. So in this instance, I'm going to respectfully disagree. You see things your way, and I have my way of seeing things. It's not the fact that I'm trying to diagnose anything or what a person needs. I can only speak for Tori and Tori's experience, and there's gonna be some people that relate to what I'm speaking on when it comes to your logic and your emotions. I've been in situations where I allow my emotions to get the best of me, and my emotions had me in situations that I know I wasn't supposed to be into. But
Mm-hmm.
when I start realizing my worth and knowing that certain situations, certain people was not good for me, that's when my logic came in. Like,
Yeah.
yo, every time you talk to this person,
It's
you're
always
drained.
okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. You have no energy. You just depleted. You like what? It's like a whirlwind. You like what? What just happened? What? What? My day was fine until I talked to such and such. So it's even like stuff like that. But more than anything, I mean, I get what he's saying, but I don't think we're trying to save anybody. What we're trying to do is really get people to open up and understand that there's other avenues that you can heal. You don't have to be a broken person stuck in these cycles and not understanding why you're stuck in these cycles. You're stuck in these cycles because you keep making the same choices, point blank, period. So so that was that on the guy's comment. However, um there's just so many ways that we can look at the things that go on around us. And like it goes back to accountability. It just everything to me falls back on accountability. If I am mistreating me, or if I'm allowing you to mistreat me, then I'm mistreating me. Because, like you say, when you realize what your value is, you never go under what you know your value is. You're not going to allow certain things in your life when you realize your own value. All of that stuff starts with self-love, self-respect, accountability. You got to go back and put it on self. What does self do to put self in these situations? Because you don't wind up in situations or being a certain way in life without some type of course of behavior that has allowed this path to continue on this way. So it all starts with self.
Absolutely. And my problem was, and I'm pretty sure some people can relate, sometimes we love people. I know I have loved people and valued people more than I value myself. And there are some people that I put on this high pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like the dirt on the bottom of their shoe.
Whew, baby, hold up. What? What? Hallelujah. Look, what? Girl, what you say? Girl, what you say? Girl, what you say? Honey, girl, look, don't go to church today because word, that is like, and it's like it's the people that you have the most respect for. It's the people that you would really do anything for. And those are the ones that turn around and will spit in your face. And what I've learned is, and it's so funny because I pray the same prayer. Well, I don't do it all the time because see, when I start praying, God start moving, and sometimes it be like, hold up, wasn't ready for that one. Wait a minute. But I always ask God to show and reveal. God, just show and reveal. I can be in the best season. I can be in the best season. Everything is a win. Everything is a win, 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 win. And I'll just tell God, show and reveal. Baby, 2 days tops, 2 days max. I'm the veils are being lifted. I can see the snakes. I know what's going on. I try to just really sit back and observe and listen and understand that my purpose is bigger. When people do backstab me and do things to me that I don't feel like I deserved, I pray for them now. You don't get no pop off. You're going to get a prayer. Because, baby, see, I'm a God body. And I mean that from the inside of my core to the out. I'm God body. So what you do to me, you're doing to God. I don't have to seek vengeance. Vengeance is mine, baby. I don't have to do all I gotta do is keep being me. If I keep being me, he's gonna make them enemies your footstool. So you gotta put all that energy you putting out, all that energy you giving to other people, all of that good stuff you giving away, even that negative energy, even them pop offs, even them neck rolls, even them reads, baby. I be reading them because I'm nosy. I'm nosy. I'm gonna read them, but it's to a certain degree now, because when you have found yourself on this spiritual journey and you do start to pour in yourself and you do start to love yourself, it's certain things that you don't even want in your spirit. Facebook is one of them things. I have to take a break every couple of days. It's like I can post for a couple of days and I gotta scale it back, because it's so many different spirits. And if you really on this spiritual journey for real, you can feel these, you can feel it. You can feel a lot of this stuff before it comes.
Woo, girl.
Or don't let me.
Oh, let me go back to some of the comments. Hold on. Let me go back. I missed a lot of comments. If I miss some comments, y'all forgive me. Hold on. Let me see what I missed.
Comments, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm just running my mouth.
I'm gonna try to put some of them on this. Hold on a second. Let me go back to. Woo, that was getting good to me. Jesus. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me see what I missed.
That's why I had to pause.
No, you did. You doing good. It's flowing. It's flowing how it needs to flow. So let me go back. Let me see. I'm trying to see what comments I missed. Okay, Cynthia says, yes, the best therapy. I think she was talking about when Roger said forgiveness. Yes. And then Cynthia also says, knowing how to control emotions is evidence of wisdom and lessons learned. Sometimes it's better to just let it go. And Cynthia says, yes, V, you preaching. And Roger says,
always let it all go, baby.
And Roger says, Vic, God can put you back together, bro. Thank you, because that was one of the things that I wanted to address as well. He said, one of the his previous comments, he said, Victor said that if he's broken, maybe he want to stay broken. And my question was going to be to him, if you broken and you know you broken, why do you want to stay broken? Like, why do you want to stay in that broken state? Was going to be my question. But Minister Roger summed it up.
Yeah,
God can put you back together. And when God starts putting you back together, that peace,
baby, ain't no man. Baby, ain't no man on this earth can break you. Not one.
What?
Not one. Not one.
When God makes you over?
Not one. God has been good. God has been really, really good to me. And just to go back on response to what he was saying, like when he, even with Roderick saying, you know, God can put you back together.
Yeah.
You have to first admit that you're broken. You have to go seek God. You have to go seek the face of God. It's nothing on this earth that you're going to miss as long as you're chasing God. Nothing. Because anything that's for you, you're going to have. So people are broken and they know that they're broken, but they don't know what it really means to be broken. They don't really know where to start when they're broken. They don't really know what to do when they're broken. It's like, I'm broken, but now what? Like, what do you do now? Now you go write down what you want. Now you go talk to God like God is the homie on the other end of the phone. Now you go in your prayer closet and you get on your knees and you pray. Now you go seek anything that represents God to you. If that means going to church for you, go to church. If that means watching church online, watch church online. If that means crying, if that means dancing, whatever that looks like for you, you will know what your healing journey needs to be for you. But you have to first seek God. That's my advice to anybody on anything. Like, you have to first go seek your maker. Go find out what your mission is, why you're here. And if you don't know where to start, even with all this stuff, then just pray tonight and tell God to lead your footsteps.
That part. And Cynthia says, self-reflection will take you far. Amen, ma'am. And Victor says, that's it. When people say someone is broken, that's the diagnosis. Maybe y'all just aren't compatible. He or she isn't broken. Y'all just not a good fit. Victor, you missing the whole point. You missing the whole point. You missing the whole point in what we're saying. And then Tamika says, amen. Cynthia says, glory, preach, Tori. Cynthia also says, but now we know better. Cynthia also says, come on here. Those prayers are revealed be something serious, so you better be ready. And that's the thing. When you pray and ask God to reveal something, you ain't always ready.
Baby, you don't be nowhere near ready. You be like bananas, pineapples, strawberries. Hold on, God. Wait a minute. Them two. Wait. Everybody gotta go. Lord. know. Like who was it? Mary said, you don't know how hard I prayed. You don't know, baby. It's the God in me. You don't know. You don't know. You don't understand until you in it and you start to pray and things start to happen and people start to reveal themselves and you start like everything comes full circle. You like, oh, that's why. Oh, got it. Cool.
Right.
Got it.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
all you can do.
Yes. And I'm trying to go through some more of the comments. Cynthia says, yes, I definitely have to detox from social media at times. And she says, no peace like the peace of God.
None. Peace be still, baby. Peace be still. Woo.
And she said, come on here, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all
Hello.
other things shall be added.
Hello. Hello.
Dwayne says, indeed.
Okay.
Minister Roderick says, lady, you are preaching good. And she is. Tamika says, amen. Tamika also says, God is good.
All the time.
Tamika says, it can be anyone in general. And Tamika, no, she's your sister. She know how you used to roll. So I know if I'm proud, I know she's extremely proud.
It's so funny because my oldest brother and I talked about a month ago. He said, Fee, he said, I thank God. You know, God is so good. He said, God sent Tamika right on time. Because I'm glad you wasn't the firstborn, because Lord, we'll still be in jail. I swear, would have had everybody in trouble. Everybody would have been in trouble. Like, he was like, Tamika was so calm coming through school. She ain't bothered nobody. You was a firecracker. I'm like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me. That was me. That was me. Yeah, that was me. But when I tell you, it made me who I am. It made me who I am today. And it made me, really know God take you through things to show you him. And I have been through so many things. I should have known him. But like when I hit 30 and I moved and I was away from everything that I was used to, and I didn't have any friends and I didn't have any family, and it was really just me and my kids and God. Like that's really all it was. It was me, my children, and God. That's when I was like, okay, all right, so this is what you've been trying to tell me. I need to move this way. I need to calm this down. I need to stop talking like this. I need to cut these people off. I need to quit going to these places. You got to pay attention because it's not just one thing. Like people like, it's just this one thing. If I could just get this, no, you're going to get that right and something else going to mess up. You're going to get that right and something else going to screw up. And then when you get those two right, 4 more other things is going to go belly up. So you have to have patience and perseverance and determination. And you got to just keep moving forward. Don't ever take your eyes off the prize. Whatever's in front of you, keep going towards that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go through a few more comments that I can see this coming up.
Okay.
Cynthia says, this is such beautiful advice for you. You have an awesome ministry.
Thank you.
You heard that, right? You heard the word she used. Ministry. Ministry. Did you hear that?
I heard it. I heard it. Don't make me blush too hard. I heard it.
And she also says God was like a clean slate. And then she also says he cleared my table, and I was like, whoa.
Me too.
And Tamika, yeah. And Tamika says the thing is, people may not know God's voice or knows how to recognize him. Can you explain this from your experience?
Look at Mimi trying to put me on the spot. Look out. Okay. From my experience, I can tell you the first time I heard from God, like officially heard from God, like in my own body, could recognize that it was God talking to me. I've always, since I was a child, had like I don't know. I remember one time going home early from school. I was like in 11th grade, maybe. Might have been like 11th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. And I had early dismissal from school. I always did what I was supposed to do. And teachers just loved me. So whatever, however. But I would work. So I would go to Walmart. But this particular day, I think I went home. I think I came straight home. And it was a particular death in Hartsville. And I was mourning this death way harder than what I should have mourned this death, because I did not know I knew who he was. I knew the person, but I was closer to a family member of the person. So I guess I was hurt because of the way the family member was hurt, if that makes sense. Um, and I remember just going to this funeral, and I just had this really eerie feeling. It was just terrible. And I didn't go to work that day. I came home the next day. I went straight home after school, and I was in the house, and I could just hear little things. And it could have been my mind. It really could have been my mind. But my mom, where we lived, in my mom's office at the time, was about 4 minutes apart. So I remember calling my mom, like, somebody's in the house. Da, da, da. They came, everybody came. My mom had called some of the people on the live might remember this if they work for any of these. My mom called the fire department, the police department. Man, when I tell you, everybody and their mama pulled up at my house. I was so embarrassed because it was nobody in the house. It was nobody in my house at all. And I'll never forget, it was an older lady. And if I see her now, I would probably know who she is, but I would probably hug her. But she came to me. She was there that day. She didn't really say much. She came to me the next day. She said, "Hey, I want you to know something." She said, "You attract spirits." She said, "You have spirits attached to you." And that was all she said. She never got into detail. So as a 16, 17-year-old child, that spooked me out. So I was always very weary of my um, spiritual senses. I'll say that much. Um, and then when I got a little bit older, I had a baby. And I don't know if you remember this, Tori. So this is how this story comes full circle. I had a baby. And when I had the baby passed. He died 36 minutes into the birth. After birth, 36 minutes. He died for 36 minutes after birth. And when they brought this baby back to me, I kept asking for the baby and they would never let me see him. So I kept asking, like, I really want to see my baby. I really want to see my baby. They would never let me go. I finally got up off the bed and I walked to the end of the hallway. As I was walking down the hallway, it was a nurse sitting outside of the station. She immediately turned in her chair and ran into a back room. I didn't know where she went at the time. When I got down there, I had just seen the dad and he said the blinds were up. So I can't. When I got down there, the blinds were closed. So when I was walking back, because I was slow walking because I just had a baby. So I was walking real slow. And she said, I was halfway back down the hall. My back was turned. She came running out. She said, "Miss Prescott," she said, "Your baby, can you come? Your baby's not doing well." Mm-hmm. So I went back I rushed back in the room. My baby was black. This is the first time I can honestly say I met God. He was black, cement black. He was not breathing, no pulse, no heartbeat, no nothing. He was just coated. He had coded for 36 minutes. I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, and I don't even remember what I said. I probably promised God so much stuff. After 36 minutes of me praying, they actually had to go get the preacher from the chapel to come in and console me because that's how hard I was praying for this baby. Lord, please don't take my baby. I just had my baby. I don't want to lose my baby. This is too soon. This is too much. This is just too much. That baby heartbeat popped back up after 36 minutes. That was the first time I ever met God. God was definitely in the room. To be there, to
Wow.
experience that, to see something that you just gave birth to, something so lively. He was just a bubbly little baby, just the beautiful cry. And then that's taken away from you within minutes, within hours, I should say. And then you watch it and you watch the life leave his body. And you pray and you pray and you're praying for this miracle. And the miracle happens. That was the first time I knew God was real.
Woo! You know how powerful that was just now?
Yeah.
It says that's good. Girl, that was very powerful.
Yeah. That was the first.
Oh my God.
Because when I tell you I prayed for that baby in a way that I've never prayed, I didn't know I could pray. I didn't know that I could pray in that manner. I prayed so hard. I know if I could find that doctor today, I would hug and kiss this lady. She was actually there on call by the grace of God. This is how good God is. The hospital I had my son at had no neo NICU. They had no equipment for a premature baby, Had I had him at this hospital without this particular doctor being there, he would have died at the hospital right then. They did not have the means to save him at all. It just so happens that this doctor was in from Colorado. She was filling in for a doctor that went out on vacation. So she was there for 2 weeks, but she was from Colorado and she worked in the neo NICU in Colorado. So when this baby coded, when I tell you, she literally stuck her hand. I don't know how she was pumping the baby heart, but she was like, her fingers were down his throat as she was, it was crazy. It was crazy to say the least. But that's when I knew without a shadow of a doubt, God was real. He lived 2 months after that. He lived for 2 months. Everything they said he would not do, he did. They said he would never suck a bottle. He would never roll. He would never stretch out. He had all these different formalities, all this stuff. He came home.
Can I get the thing for God?
Okay, give me a second, okay? Okay. So that's when I knew God was real.
Wow, that was so powerful. Oh my God, that was powerful. Jesus, but we've been on an hour already.
We have
so briefly. I don't even think we covered so much. I don't even think we covered the second part. But what advice would you give to someone? Because the second part of the topic was, what do you do to dominate your distractions? When you have distractions coming your way, what are some of the things or tips that you could give to someone, some probably some things that you do to dominate your distractions? Because we're gonna have people, we're gonna have things that happen, circumstances it's just literally, we have to recognize it for what it is, a distraction. So what do you do to dominate your distractions, and what advice would you give to people that may be having a lot of distractions coming to them all at once?
First of all, know and understand that distraction is a game plan of the enemy. Okay? So let's start there. Let's start with the fact that anything that is destructive or distracts you is not of God. So let's be clear about that. Number one. Number two. Okay, give me 1 second. It's in the freezer. Taylor's not gonna let me be great, y'all. Number two, to limit distractions, I always, first of all, I have to manage my emotions, because things happen to us. So it either happens to us or it happens for us. So that's mainly the mentality I have now. Either Taylor is give me 1 second, because I really want to break this down. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Taylor is her baby, y'all, and Taylor is a trip. She's like, wait a minute, Taylor will not let me be great, but let me make sure I didn't miss any comments while she's getting Taylor straight. This was a comment that populated, and I didn't see it before. Victor says, "Oh Lord, I use myself in an analogy. Now I'm broken. To some, I may be broken at times. I may be broken, but as a whole, I'm put together very well, whether anyone believes it or not. I may not be whole 365 days, but it's okay. Nobody is diagnosing you as broken, Victor. And yes, you use yourself as an analogy. And we're basically saying that if you are broken, God will put you all together. You take things way out of context when we're making conversation. But the reason why we address it is because of something that you said. You didn't say it was an example. You just said that if you were broken, that you would stay broken. So we're not saying you're broken. No. Deal with life the best way that you see fit, which is best for Victor. Right. And that's that. But we're not diagnosing you or anything like that. So no. One thing about me, I'm not going to tell anyone anything about themselves. Now, if you make a comment or something about maybe something that you're going through, one thing about me, I'm not going to tell anybody how they should feel or anything like that. I mostly listen.
Right.
And I speak when necessary, because one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to belittle people. I'm not going to put anyone down. My job is to be there to comfort people. And a lot of times people just need me as a listening ear. But I will say this. I have zero tolerance for negativity And there's certain things that we have to be careful what we're listening to. We have to be careful what conversations that we're entertaining. We have to be careful different places that we go. So me, I'm a very peaceful person. So I'm not going to entertain anything the where I am now in God. There's certain things I'm not going to entertain, certain conversations I'm not going to entertain. But what I will do, I'm going to be an encourager, and I'm a love on people.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's just Tori. People that know me know how I am. They know how I roll. So that's just it. So I want to address that while you was getting Taylor straight. But go ahead and get back to breaking it down with the distractions.
Okay, so as far as the distractions, what I've learned over my course of whatever this journey, this journey is things either happen to you or they happen for you, and that's really the only two. That's the only two logics that I have. If something is happening to me, then how am I going to respond to what's happening to me? And then if something's happened for me, then hopefully is for me. It's for my greater good. So those are my responses to distractions. If somebody's coming in and it's a distraction to me, if it takes me off the course of my day, and I don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect on any of this that I'm speaking on. So I don't want nobody to feel like, oh my God, no, I'm not. This is you have to practice this stuff daily. Like I get out off side, sidetrack, offline, off the grid, off of everything sometimes. Sometimes I'm just all the way off and I have to go back and regroup. But I have to always remember it's either happening to me or it's happening for me. And if it's happening to me, what am I going to do about it? Because ultimately, that's really the only choice you have. You don't really have a choice in anything else. Because if it's happening to you, it's either going to be for your good or not for your good. Either way, you have to respond to it if it's actually coming at you. So as far as distractions for me, if it takes me off of anything that I'm focused on, you got to go. And it's that
Right.
I'm really that simple with it now because as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that the days seem like they're getting shorter. Life is long when you make it long, or you can make it really short by wasting time doing all the wrong things. So as I'm focused on all the right things, you got to be focused there with me, or you have to go.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
I done took enough of your time. I want you to get back to your babies, but
I
before
have.
you go, and I want you to hang on a few minutes too once we end the live. I want you to hang on and talk to you after the podcast. But tell again about, if people want to reach out to you, maybe there's somebody that's watching that may be in the market of purchasing a home. Let
Yeah.
them know how to get in contact with you in regards to purchasing a home, what locations you cover, also repeat your handles, and also Prescott Wireless is where it
Yeah.
all began.
First of all, first and foremost, let me shout out Prescott Wireless. Those are my roots. That's where I started. I would be nothing without Prescott Wireless. So Prescott Wireless, y'all, for all of your cell phone needs. A lot of people in the PD are already our customers. A lot of you are not. The ones who want to come out and support. We got a store in Hartsville. We have one in Darlington right on the square. Hartsville is right next to the middle school. Darlington is right on the square across from the courthouse. And Bishopville is right downtown, Main Street, Bishopville. You guys, I've got some things in the work here in Charlotte I'm very excited about, but I'm not going, go spill the beans, but we are growing. We are in the process of growing. We got some new projects even coming in Darlington. I'm so excited that I can't wait to fill y'all in on some of this stuff that's going on that my family's doing. Um, as for me, myself, I am knee deep in real estate right now. I still do cell phones by appointments. You got to book me. Yes, I do charge a deposit, by the way. You got to book me, but I will come do your phone if I have to. But right now I'm knee deep in real estate, and I'm hoping that I can take as many people on this real estate journey as I possibly can. Black people are black and brown people, but mainly black people are severely behind when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to generational wealth. These are not things that we're teaching our children. These are not things that we're passing down to our children. And I need for everybody who can hear me to understand that real estate is the direct path to generational wealth. There's nothing that's going to build your generational wealth quicker. There's nothing more stable than real estate. You're always going to need somewhere to stay. So like I always like to tell my people, if you've got to be the first one in the family to buy the house, be that person. But we've got to change these things. These are generational curses that have been passed upon us and placed upon our families that we must break. And the only way we're going to break them, we're going to have the chain breaker. So if you are the chain breaker in your family, there's nobody else that's purchased a home, or you may have an aunt or uncle or a mom or dad or somebody that's purchased a home, but you really want to get on that path to home ownership. You really want to start flipping houses, investing in properties, all of that good stuff. I can help you. I'm Fee the Realtor on all social media platforms. Fee, F-E, the Realtor. I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm with Keller Williams Ballantyne. Shout out to KWB. Shout out to KWB. I'm with Keller Williams. Been doing this for 2 years. Don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just getting started in real estate. So if you want to be on this journey with me, come take a ride with me.
Absolutely. Listen, when I tell you, you do the best promotion for yourself, like these commercials that you do, these TikToks that you do, they be on point. I'm like, look at me. Listen.
I get so tickled doing that stuff. I get so tickled because it really is a natural thing for me. And I think that people think that I may be acting. No, I'm naturally crazy like this. I don't know why. This is me.
I love it. I love it. Well, keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I am super proud of you because like I said, I've been knowing you for a while, like a long time.
Yeah.
And like I said, the growth I see has been simply amazing. Just to see you blossom into this beautiful butterfly, it just has been. And here's the thing. This is just the beginning. You ain't even scratched the surface yet.
I haven't.
God is about to really blow your mind. But it's about you staying focused the way you are now.
Yeah.
He's really gonna blow your mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and don't let nothing
heart. Like I take that to heart. Even here in Charlotte, like I have connected with so many people. It's so many things that I've taken upon myself to want to do for the community. It's so many things that I want to bring back to South Carolina that I'm doing in Charlotte. And I cannot wait until I'm in a position where I can really coast this thing the way I want to. But I thank you Tori. I thank you, Tori, for rocking with me all these years.
Always.
You've been rocking with me. So you know, wherever I go, Tori's going with me.
Absolutely. Good evening, Charlene, and you have a great evening as well. And thank you so much for always watching and tuning in and being a part of the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Good night, y'all.
And if you guys would like to be a guest, let me also put this banner up. If you would like to be a guest on the Keep the Faith podcast, you can email me at Gmail is faithisnecessary@gmail.com, or you can call or text at 843-920-8124. Once again, that number is 843-920-14. You can call or text that number. And I always say at the end of each podcast, whatever we go through in this thing called life, you may bend, but don't you dare break. And when I tell you the evolution, those of you that know Felisha, y'all seen the evolution. She's constantly evolving, but I'm loving it. Like I said, I'm loving it. It's like now, let me just say this. It's like you just this ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
Like your light is shining so bright.
I like to believe that I've always been the ray of sunshine. It's just that sometimes you got to go through the darkness to find your light. You got to go through the darkness. See, people, when it gets dark, people get scared. And I ain't never been scared of nothing. Like I'm afraid of my mama and God. I tell anybody. And I say my mama before God, because my mama can get to me. I feel like my mama get to me before God will. I'm scared of my mama and God. Those are the only two. Other than that, I have no fear. So when I'm placed in a bad situation, you got to learn how to take that energy, that bad energy, and eat it and make it good. So that's all. I just wash the energy. That's it. I'm still the same person. I just put my direction somewhere else.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go through a couple more comments before we totally end. The last couple of comments was Tamika says, thank you too. You're welcome, Tamika.
You're welcome, Mimi.
And then Michelle says empowering podcast. Thank
All
you
the
so
time.
much.
All the time.
Thank you. And Tamika says motivational. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. So y'all already know how I go. Tamika definitely, not Tamika. Well, you know what? I said Tamika coming back, so that must be mean Tamika need to come on next.
You need to come on. She need to come on.
Listen,
come on in the
that
room.
must be what that means. I was like, Tamika, we're gonna have you back. That must mean Tamika, you must be coming up next. So call me.
Yeah.
But Felisha, you have definitely got to come back. When I tell you, you was dropping some nuggets.
Yeah. It's that self-work. Well, I gotta look. I can't take no credit away from my mama. Okay. Let me tell you something. My mom is one of them type of mamas where you gonna get it. Like she gonna beat it in your head until you get it. Whether you want to get it, not want to get it, you gonna get it. So a lot of my foundation came from my parents for sure. But as I grew older, that's when I started to understand the lessons that they were already trying to teach me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you, Minister Rod. He said, God bless us both. Thank you, Minister Rod. And thank you for always watching and being tuned in as well. That's another one of my guests that I love having on the podcast. When he comes on the podcast, he drops some nuggets as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I definitely got to have Minister Rod back. Please, but let me let you get back to them babies. Because you know them babies love their mama.
They do. They do. They do. They do. They love their mama. Thank you for
but
having
I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys make sure you share the podcast. And if you missed the beginning, definitely watch the replay. And what I'm going to try, this podcast, this was so good. I'm going to see, I may have to re-air this. I may, you know how you do a previous recording and re-air. This was so good to me. I'm just going to have to re-air it.
We can do this again. We can do this again. I definitely enjoyed y'all tonight. Like your audience, I like them a lot. A lot.
Listen, positive vibes only. Ain't no other way. Positive vibes only. Positive vibes.
Honey, I got two of them.
And Cynthia says, this was good.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We gone. You guys have a blessed Sunday. Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday. And you guys have a blessed and amazing week. We love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye, y'all.
Okay.